You're welcome to this edition of the Power Circuit program, proudly brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The Power Utility Company is the sole manager of the national power grid, serving the power generation companies and the electricity distribution companies to deliver electricity to consumers. In today's edition, we bring to you a report on the partnership of the Ministry of Power and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, on a metering policy. Our spotlight is on the encroachment of right-of-way of power transmission lines continues today. In this series, we bring to you some of the spots of these violations in Anambra and Benue states under the Enugu region of TCN. The General Manager Health, Safety and Environment at TCN, Mr. Kange Kefas, would highlight the health and other risks as well as economic implications of these actions. I am Amara Agogoesi. To stay with us on this program. The Federal Ministry of Power has partnered with the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, to hold the first workshop on an ideal metering policy. The Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Maman, delivered a keynote address at the workshop held in Abuja.
According to a statement by the Minister's Office, the workshop tagged the National Electricity Consumer Metering Policy (NECMP) Stakeholder Alignment Workshop is the first of such to be organized by the Ministry of Power in collaboration with the Power Africa Nigeria Power Sector Program, which is funded by USAID Office in Nigeria. The Minister of Power, Engineer Maman, said the key objective of the workshop was to share ideas about the ongoing efforts at developing a robust national metering policy that is fit for purpose. He said it will be a policy that will effectively address the yearnings of the Nigerian electricity consumers and provide much needed guidance to the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI. Giving a background into how the collaboration began, the minister said he set up a working group in 2020 to drive the articulation of the policy alongside key stakeholders. So far, the National Mass Metering Program, an initiative of the ministry, is being implemented across the power distribution companies towards providing at least 1 million free meters to registered electricity consumers.
The Power Circuit continues after this break.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
The encroachment of the right-of-way of power transmission lines legally acquired by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, for transmitting bulk electricity nationwide has been identified as a challenge in efficient power lines management. In this series, the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, highlights spots where these violations are prevalent in Anambra and Benue states under the Enugu transmission region of TCN, as it appeals to the general public to avoid building or staying under power lines for safety reasons and more.
As the management of TCN intensifies its sensitization exercise to stem the tide of the encroachment on the transmission lines we live, officials of TCN at the Enugu transmission region of the company went through some spots in Anambra State. The first of these is the 330 kilovolts Onitsha to Asaba transmission line route, where the manager lines at the Onitsha sub-region of TCN, Engineer Adeoye Makinde, said a multi-tower on the transmission line route was facing erosion and fire threat.
This is the B1T, B2T. the multi-tower. We call it multi-tower because it carries more than 2 circuits. It's more than the conventional double circuit. It has 3 330 kV lines and 2 132 kV lines. This is one of the most recent towers in the system. It's the only place in the federation where we have such structure. This tower is convenient where we have issue relating to access road as a right of way. This is the most convenient way to solve the problem. But when you talk of maintenance culture, the maintenance in a way is more difficult because you have to be very good before you can maintain it. Now you can see activities of human activities around this area. You can see plastic, mechanic workshop, and diversion of erosion parts directly under the line.
Engineer Deoye, who was in the company of the visiting principal manager lines at Enugu region of TCN, Engineer Kolawole Orumiloye, said an abandoned drainage project is eating into the foundation of the tower.
Directly under the line. You can see a drainage on the ground constructed and done by Anambra State government. But along the road, along the way, it's like the project was abandoned, which constitutes the blockage of Onitsha-Owerri road drainage. You can see by the road, one lane of the road is almost abandoned. We will appreciate it if Anambra State government can come and complete the project here so that the tower can be saved.
The encroachment of power lines does not only pose danger to members of the public, but could cause a huge and needless expenditure for the transmission company in the event such activities caused the collapse of a tower.
If peradventure this tower collapse, believe me, the whole Nigeria will be affected because it's going to collapse the system because of the powers is winning. So we will appreciate it if Anambra State government will come and complete this project. But as you can see, we are seeing some activities of either the agency of Anambra State government trying to do one thing or the other to alleviate some of the ecological challenges around the area.
A contractor from the Dredge Resources, Mr. Felix Ofodele, spoke about the efforts of the Anambra State government towards addressing erosion issues near the power transmission tower.
We've just come back to work to see if we can actually finish this work from Anambra State government, and my honorable governor is doing so much. He's very concerned about this work, this job. But the problem that I have is that I want to appeal to the governor to help us with the physical planning board so that they can get rid of people who build houses and offices and mechanic workshops, and they are the people that set this thing on fire. This is too dangerous. I've tried to move one particular man who claims he owns a property here. This man has built this property several times. He has built this property several times, and I've warned him to remove this thing, and I want to remove all the people here, because when you have people here, they set this place on fire and set this place on fire. So most of the time, we are doing clearing now. We want to clear every single thing.
At the Ugwagba community in Obosi along the 330 kV Onitsha to Owerri transmission line route, the principal manager lines of Enugu region, Engineer Kolawole Orumiloye, spoke about the right-of-way violations, especially as it affects Tower 349.
You can see the activities of the plastic gatherers who place a dump into this place. Look at this fire smoking. Look at the fire smoking here. God forbid, assuming the fire go into that place now, it will engulf and go up into flames, thereby causing interruption to the supply. So we are begging the management of TCN and the Anambra State government, urban and regional planning, to effect changes in this place so as to avert an unpleasant incident, as it happens a couple of years ago on Tower 5 at the same area.
The base of a tower on the 330 kV Onitsha to Benin transmission was set on fire, another huge threat to the functioning of the tower.
The place is still smoking due to the activities of the so-called
miscreants.
So-called hosts. They call themselves the landlord of this place. They turn this place to refuse dump and set it on fire directly on the tower leg.
There are reports of more encroachment on the right-of-way of the 330 kV Onitsha to New Haven Enugu transmission line in Awka, the Anambra State capital, especially at the Enugu-Ogidi area. This time, it is not just about doing business or living under the right-of-way, but people who have resorted to excavating earth on the transmission line route.
This is another excavation going on unabated at a point between tower
69-70.
Between tower 69-70, where we have a post service resettlement. We have been here severally. The RTM, the past RTM of the region Enugu was here, and the present one asked us to be here again with what is going on, so that this destruction, excavation in the corridor of the 330 kV line can be put a stop. If you look at the distance between where they have excavated now to the tower base, is very close, and imminently this can lead to collapse of this tower and disruption to wheeling of power to not only Anambra, Enugu, then we have other states like Kogi State, Ebonyi State, and part of River State that this transmission line serves. As you can see, there is obstructive building that has already projected into the right of ways, very close to the tower base, tower 69 there. This is tower 70.
Land speculators were said to have broken down the fence of the 132 kV Agwoka transmission substation in Agwoka area of Awka, another form of violation of power lines and infrastructure.
The fence has been broken down by land speculators. They broke this place off, capitalizing on the construction of this road by the Anambra State government. They broke the fence with the intention of cutting off this area and selling it out.
If the management of TCN did not expedite action to come and recover this place with the assistance of the state government, with the state government of Anambra State, the proposed 330 kV line switchyard extension that the management is proposing for this place may not be enough after all. So this is the right time, the management of TCN, in collaboration with the Anambra State government, to secure this place, so to wade away all the land speculators.
Still touring the power transmission line routes, the TCN officials were at Awada Obosi community of Anambra State on the 330 kV Onitsha to New Haven Enugu transmission line. There are erosion threats to Tower 10 under the transmission line route, partly caused by human activities.
This erosion is partly caused by human activities, developers within the vicinity of the power line. You can see at this my right hand side buildings, the activities of the developer contributed in sending their water paths towards the erosion, towards the power line. It has now been used as drainage, as a refuse point for the community.
The spotlight on right-of-way encroachments continues after this break. Don't go away.
The crew moved again to inspect the 330 kilovolts Onitsha to Asaba transmission line route at the Onitsha end. There were also cases of encroachment of the right-of-way of the power line between Tower 1 and Tower 2.
Under the line, we have mechanic workshop. On our right-of-way, we have mechanic workshops. We have buildings, our fences of the line.
Still at the Ugwagba community near Onitsha in Anambra State, car wash operators and shop owners blazingly operate under the 330 kilovolts Onitsha to Aloji Abia State transmission line.
Under this tower, you can see activities of car wash. Then if you look at our left hand side there, you see a series of shops.
Still around Obosi town, along the Onitsha to Owerri road, Tower 5 of the 330 kilovolts Onitsha to Owerri transmission line, which collapsed 2 years ago due to encroachment, is being threatened again.
As a result of activities of plastic manufacturing industries, mini industries, scavengers, fire drop on the plastic at the wee hour of the day. And at the end, nobody to put out the fire. The fire was so high to the extent that the tower rack, and in the process, it collapsed completely, throwing the whole of Asaba substation into blackout. As at then, there were a lot of mechanic workshops here. Within that period, about 25 to 30 vehicles were burnt down completely. After that, they left the scene. It cost the management millions of naira to build back. After building back, the place was cordoned off with caution tag. Within 2 months, 3 months that we left the site, I came back again. It has been occupied again by mechanics.
The encroachment of the right-of-way of power lines was also reported at the Api sub-region in Benue State, especially on the 330 kilovolts Api Makurdi to Jos transmission line routes.
The encroachment of the right-of-way of power lines was also reported in Api sub-region in Benue State, especially on the 330 kilovolts Api Makurdi to Jos transmission line route. Assistant Manager System Line Department in the sub-region, Engineer Nelson Okafor, said sand excavation is the greatest threat here.
We are standing on Yakio Road in Makurdi Metropolis, and we are under tower number 18, Makurdi Jos 330 kV double circuit line. We are here to report the activities of the villagers, which is undesirable, that is going on under this tower. Prior to the tower installation, the Whaley people have paid the right of ways that we accommodate this line, giving villagers demarcation from the center of this line to 30 meters away where the activities will continue. But the villagers have decided not to play on the terms of conditions that they were paid during the Whaley's. As you can see, they are excavating plaster sand very close to our towers, thereby exposing the tower foundation to erosion.
The inspection team also toured part of a 132 kilovolt Otukpo to Yandev transmission line route in Benue State.
Where we are standing now is between Tower 1 and Tower 2 of Otukpo Yandev 132 kVA line. Is situated here in Asa 1 Otukpo Bypass Road. So we are here to show what the villagers have done after the right of ways or the way leave have been paid to the villagers. Instead of them to maintain their own portion, which is right from this center to 15 meters by the left, building their structures, they have decided to encroach on our right of ways. If you can look at the fence at the back here, this fence is directly under the 132 kV line Otukpo-Yandef line. It's an obstruction. If there is anything that happens here, the access route to our lines will not be visible.
Commenting, the principal manager lines of the Enugu region, engineer Kolawole Orimiloye, called on the government of Benue State to compel residents raising structures under the power line routes to quit.
You see a building, a new building coming up very close to the corridors of the tower base there. Initially, the 330 kV line at the basement that we are seeing beyond, ordinarily supposed to pass on this side through this corridor. The way leave compensation has been paid to the people in all this area territory, but because of them, when the contractors see that they started to build up new buildings springing up along the path of the transmission line, they have to divert this away after a compensation has been paid.
This tower we are looking at, there is an ongoing excavation of the soil here. So we are using this medium to alert management of what is going on here so that they can use their good office to liaise with the local authorities, the governors of the state, Samuel Otom, and the local government chairman here of this for Otukpo region, so that he will enlighten these boys. If they want to produce local bomb bricks, they know where they will go, not under our tower. Because if this tower fall, it will affect our transmitting capability, it will affect the supply of this area, and by and large, it will undermine the Mr. President's goal of making sure that the generated powers is transmitted from where it is generated to the load centers where the local people need the supply.
This excavation has made this place prone to erosion that can erode away all this area up to the tower base. So quick action is needed to reverse what these people have done here in the form of harm, threatening the tower base. Thank you.
As always emphasized by the General Manager, Health, Safety and Environment at TCN, Mr. Kange Kefas, the violations of the right-of-way of power lines have serious health and hazard implications for those indulging in the arts.
As always emphasized by the General Manager, Health, Safety and Environment at TCN, Mr. Kange Kefas, the violations of the right-of-way of power lines have serious health and hazard implications for those indulging in the arts.
When you have a line that, if any of our line cuts, it damages so much. Even then, like you may have had in 2013 or so, that just a 11 kVA line cut in Calabar where people were watching football. It fell on a building and about 33 people died. Not to talk about 132 or 330 that is most carries so much power.
It's a wrap, but then you have heard that the Ministry of Power has partnered with USAID on metering policy. And from our spotlight, we brought to you a report on the violations of the right-of-way of power transmission lines across some spots in Anambra and Benue states, which are under the Enugu transmission region of TCN. We appreciate you for always staying with us on the Power Circuit program. You can view this episode and others on TCN YouTube channel. Please interact with us on these platforms because TCN needs your support to advance its mandate. TCN wishes you the best always, and remember to adhere to the coronavirus prevention protocol. I am Amara Agugoyesi. Thank you for staying with us.